We welcome you to Championship Sunday at the 2018 USA Ultimate Club National Championships. Another beautiful day for Ultimate in San Diego, and in the mixed division, it's a rematch of the 2017 Instant Classic between Seattle Mixtape and Philly Amp. These two programs were taken to the brink yesterday, but the programs survived the All-Star team. Space Heater and Snake Country fall short, so we get a rematch of one of the great games we've ever seen in the mixed division with Mixtape and Amp. Good afternoon, everybody. Evan Lepler with Megan Tormey. Ian Toner from down on the field joins us in just a couple of moments. And wow, what a day semifinal Saturday was. 5 of the 6 semifinals in the 3 divisions go to Universe. These two teams know about Universe Point in a big game.
Yeah, last night we were kept at the edge of our seats the entire time. You can be sure that's the same game we're going to watch tonight. These two teams are both incredibly hard workers. They want this championship. They're going to fight for it with every inch of their life.
From a roster standpoint, a few key differences for each side, but largely the same teams as a year ago when Mixtape won the Triple Crown, US Open, Pro Flight, and National Champions. They've had a different season in 2018 trying to build back to repeat, but here they are. They say they thrive under the pressure, and one of those guys is Mark Burton, the quarterback for this Mixtape squad.
No one quite thrives under pressure like Mark Burton. He is so capable of being a one-man show. When their backs are against the wall, Mark Burton always comes out with something electric. He's impossible to guard when he decides that he's going to take over the point.
There are few mixed teams in the world that have as long of a history as Philly Amp. They have competed building a program for over a decade now, and when you think of Amp, Megan, you think of Raha Mozaffari. She's become synonymous with the program on the team for more than a decade now.
Yeah, her 13th season, she really embodies the ethos of Amp. And when you see that infamous defensive pressure from Mixtape come out, it's going to be Mozaffari who is going to continuously grind to make sure her team continues to advance to the end zone.
She's been an inspiration to so many in this division, and the younger women on her team, Carolyn Normile, Anna Thompson, Linda Morse, just to name a few, they have unbelievable potential. This game has potential to be another thriller. Mixtape and Amp for the title. Next. The 2018 USA Ultimate National Championships are presented by VC Ultimate, providing Ultimate's best custom team uniforms and apparel since 1998. Visit VC Ultimate on the web at vcultimate.com. And by Discraft, the official disc of USA Ultimate, now available at Midwest Meyer stores and over 2,000 retailers nationwide. Third meeting of the 2018 season between Mixtape and Amp. This is the rubber match, of course. Hauser, Revere, Stout, Abramovich, Burton, Bolton, and Kircher for Mixtape's offense. And on Amp defensively, Flamberg, Bova, Nardelli, Rosso, Robinson, Normile, and DeSabato. A D-line for Patrick Sherlock, the veteran coach of this Philly team. These two teams know each other so well. They're so familiar with what the other wants to do. It's just about execution and energy. Ian Toner has more.
Thanks, Evan. These two teams have met 8 times since 2015 in both the regular season and the championship series. Mixtape holds the all-time lead with a 5-3 record all-time. 3 of those matchups have been decided by just a single goal, and the average all-time goal differential is just 3 goals per game. So a betting man might be smart to set the line at 2.5 or lower, as history suggests.
Well, I think history in the finals suggests these two teams are going to go right down to the wire. No one's perfect in the mixed division this year, and I think we kind of knew that coming into the tournament. The world champion BFG have had some bumps in the road. The Triple Crown winners from last year, Mixtape, have had some bumps in the road. Amp had the best body of work collectively to earn the #1 seed, but they were far from perfect. And yet, every team has lost a game at Nationals. These are the two that survived Universe Point games from the pre-quarters, the quarters to the semis, and here we are.
The scene looks a little bit different in the mixed division this year. So there have been some adjustments from both teams. These are the two teams who were able to make the most adjustments the quickest, and that's why we see them here in the finals today.
One of the big question marks coming into the final is the status of Khalif El Salam. Talented all-around player, largely on this Mixtape D-line. He did not play in the semifinals yesterday because of an Achilles injury. He said he was going to warm up. He said if he could feel about 80%, feel like he could help his team, he would play. We'll see if he takes the field at all. Mark Burton has played for Seattle Sockeye in the men's division, but he loves this Mixtape squad. He's enjoyed playing with Brian Stout, who's been a huge addition for Mixtape this year in more ways than one. 6'4" veteran cutter of a number of elite teams. There's a pick downfield to halt the opening point. Ellen Goldberg with the disc. All of Mixtape's newcomers this year have made an impact. Ellen Goldberg, Emily Smith, Nikki Bruce, and Reed Hendrickson and Brian Stout on the male side of things. Jesse Bolton, a Mixtape veteran. Bolton looking to the end zone, and there's Brad Hauser, who led Seattle in goals in last year's title game. Beats Sean Mott to the spot. And a turnover free hold for Seattle.
All the same, you have to give credit to Amp's defense for doing a fantastic job of reading exactly what Mixtape wanted. When you have to force in a round break to have Mixtape score, you know your defense is doing things well to start the game out.
Beat Rob Robinson to the spot, I should say. Sean Mott will likely be on the field on offense on this next point for Philly. Brad Hauser picks up the goal. Let's check in with Ian down on the field.
Thanks, Evan. A noticeable difference compared to the early rounds yesterday morning is the lack of breeze, or a very slight breeze. During yesterday's semifinal, Amp had to deal with the upwind, downwind conditions, but this morning is significantly calmer with little to no wind impacting throwers. And we'll be interested to see how that impacts Amp's O-line subbing strategy, as we saw them frequently saving Nikki Spiva for the upwind O points in yesterday's semifinal.
Khalif El Salam is on the field for Mixtape's opening defensive point. Tom Cavallero on the pull. Some of his teammates were saying he had the game of his life against Boston Snake Country in the semifinals yesterday. It's Calvin Trissolini sliding to haul in the under, and then a tough throw behind the intended target. But Amp keeps it alive. Bobby Roos finds Rahamo Zafari. Emily Smith taking the Mozafari matchup. El Salam on Mott downfield. Hendrickson gets Trissolini, which puts Cavallero on Nico Lake. Just like yesterday, first O point of the game for Amp, and no Nikki Spiva. No problem. Lake to Roos, and we're even at 1.
That low throw dug out by Trissolini to keep this possession alive, followed by another dig out to maintain possession for Amp. Both teams clearly feeling the defensive pressure from the other team, trying to keep things calm and conserve as they work out their offense in this finals game.
Bobby Roos wide open. chatting with Coach Patrick Sherlock before the game. Talked about the length of this season, how they've taken strategic times off, had to set the roster by the end of April for Worlds. And while they had some roster changes, they didn't want the Worlds season and the national season to feel like two completely distinct different seasons. They wanted it to be one long road. They took some time off in May, took some time off before the US Open, a little time off afterwards. Look at those scores. Slow White 14-13 in pre-quarters. And then yesterday, Space Heater, another one-goal game. One of the big surprises of the tournament really was the lopsided score in the quarters against Dragon Thrust. AMP has never won a national title. Got to the finals for the first time last year. It's a program that has been in the mix, no pun intended, for quite a while. Hauser resets for Bolton. Spiva out there defensively, chasing Burton. Oh, there's a D, but it may be a foul. Normile got her hand in there. But did she also get the body? Very close play, pass intended for Paige Kircher.
Stalling one.
No contest on the foul, it appears. So Kircher's got it. To Stout. Burt fires. Hauser, end zone, denied! Remarkable defense from Luke Ryan to give AMP a break chance.
How about that? Perfect positioning against such a seasoned, amazing receiver as Brad Hauser. Luke Ryan really wanted that disc.
Spiva fires long near the sideline. That's going to find Ben Peleg with Bolton on the mark. Anna Thompson was a hero last year in the finals, and she throws the game's first break.
And that is bookends for Luke Ryan.
Philly marches 70 yards after the D, and Ryan pays it off. Anna Thompson showed how fearless she could be a year ago, and she's back.
What a great offensive possession after they got that D. Just a few throws to get to the end zone. They really stretched out in front of Mixtape's defense, giving themselves a lot of space and a lot of opportunity to make this play.
Luke Ryan, one of the few players we'll see today who's originally from Maplewood, New Jersey, and went to Columbia High School, the birthplace of Ultimate, our sport that celebrates its 50th birthday this year. Had the privilege of chatting with a couple of the game's founders, Joel Silver, Johnny Hines, here yesterday. Luke Ryan knew some guys on the Ultimate team in high school, played soccer. He's a captain of the soccer team at Columbia High. He scores the goal that gives AMP their first lead. Burton back out there. One thing about this Seattle team and their mentality, they want to get buckets. They will take chances. They'll make plays. There are also turnovers to get from them because of their risk-taking mentality. As Hauser's deep throw illustrates. And that lands incomplete. intended for Goldberg. Good defense from Morse. That's out of the reach of Linda Morse near the sideline. Of course, she was involved in a controversial play yesterday near the sideline. A goal that was bobbled, ruled inbounds by the observer who makes the active call. It was a break that gave AMP an 11-10 lead. They went on to win by 1. A lot of folks in the Ultimate world talking about that play and the ramifications of it. Grace Noah back to Burton. Oh my. Miscommunication between Stout and Burton, and the quick pickup. Too far for Ing. That's a throw that Amp's gonna want to have back.
What an awesome opportunity for AMP, but getting just a little too trigger happy. That disc sails way too far.
He was really open too. Hauser, apparently so open because of a pick. 4 of the 5 turnovers in the game on this point. Early in the mixed final, as we culminate another celebration of Ultimate, the 50th anniversary of the sport here at Nationals, and there's throwing into a well-timed poach from Linda Morse. Mozafari, marked by an active Claire Revere. Timeout, Philadelphia. You can see Morris reading the eyes of the thrower.
She was on the hunt for that D. Morris has been having a spectacular tournament. That controversial catch notwithstanding. Yesterday it was so fun to watch her match up against the likes of Sandy Jorgensen. She showed an absolute fearlessness as she took on someone who has an outstanding reputation in the Ultimate community. It seemed to affect Morse not at all. Goldberg also has had a great tournament so far, and Morse is standing up to her with so much poise.
What do you think of that controversial sequence from yesterday? Is it on Morse to overrule the observer who's making the active call? Is it just a goof? I mean, Mitch Dengler, one of the observers in that game, who never comments on calls publicly, basically came out on Twitter and said, look, it's obvious, I blew it. I sincerely apologize to both teams. And even after the game, Space Heater, I don't think, was dwelling on that call. There may have been other calls that Space Heater dwelled upon. Do you have any other thoughts about that sequence?
Absolutely. You know, if Morris had any suspicion that she was out of bounds when she stopped rotation of the disc, it was on her to reverse the call.
Good play out of the timeout. Morris picks up the assist. Yuga Shao in the end zone. And it's 3-1 Philly.
But to finish my thought, Evan, I don't think that active calls from observers absolve the players of the responsibility to adhere to the most important rule of Ultimate, the spirit of the game.
I think reasonable people, which I hope you and I are considered to be, can disagree. And I personally don't hold Linda Morris responsible for what happened at all. It's a tight call. It's not up to the players to determine whether they're in bounds. She was told she's in bounds. She may have not known exactly where she was on the field. And bad calls happen in every game in the world of sports. Whether they're referees, observers, or it's completely self-officiated. It didn't determine the game, thankfully. There were plenty of opportunities, and I think it's fair of you to want more of Morse, but I think reasonable people can disagree, and I think it's a conversation that'll continue. She's got the assist. Amp has back-to-back breaks, and Mixtape doesn't look in sync right now. What do you see?
Yeah, but at the same time, that is almost characteristic of Mixtape.
That's a great point.
They can come out and not be entirely themselves, and that is part of the evolution of a single game for Mixtape. They just need to either take a timeout or some individual needs to make an electric play, and then suddenly we'll see the Mixtape that is capable of taking this game away.
We
or
have
winning
seen
it by one.
Many times we've seen them fall behind early and then jump on a roll. That was their mojo against Dragon Thrust when they played Minneapolis so many times in big games. Stout squeezes it through. Cavallero. Remember, Cavallero wasn't an active member, dealing with a knee injury last year at Nationals, but he's back. And there's a turnover free hold. Grace Noah dishes into the end zone. And it's 3-2.
And look at this. It does not have to be a perfect put to the perfect side of the body for Brad Hauser to be able to make a play. One-handed lefty grab, not in the direction he was running. Still a Mixtape goal.
Khalif El-Salam returning to the field for this next deep point for Seattle. So I gotta say, we talked to him about, I don't know, 45 minutes before game time. I don't know about your impressions. I didn't get the sense that he was gonna play. From the way he was talking, he seemed kind of resigned to supporting his team from the sideline. He said he was gonna warm up and see what he could do. We'll keep an eye on him. It's a national championship game. If you feel like you can help your team, you gotta go.
I agree, Evan. I was surprised at how reserved he seemed personally, but adrenaline is a beautiful thing. And I'm sure as game time approached, he started to feel just a little bit differently.
Here's Calvin Trissolini. Been playing really well. Oh, wide open. Cutter going deep. Nico Lake open by 30 yards. Way too easy.
We will have to look at that replay to see how exactly that assignment was blown. There is no way that was in any playbook.
He just took off from the handler set. No one went with him. Bobby Roos just put it out in the platter.
Let that be a lesson to all young players. That's a nice and tricky place to start a cut.
I think sometimes as a defender, you go down to cover a handler and you're like, all right, I'm just going to play stifling handler defense.
Without a doubt.
Don't have to worry about getting burned deep. And then all of a sudden, you're slumping off to the sidelines.
Yeah.
No communication to get a switch, and Bailey knew he had no shot.
Yeah, the person who is best at punishing that is Ring of Fire's Bob Blue. If he thinks for a single second that his defender is thinking only about defense in the handler position, he will strike to the end zone.
I know exactly what you mean. Claire Revere did not play in the finals last year because of a concussion. Very excited to be back on the field, as you can imagine. And in some ways, Revere feels like such an important part of this O-line. Them to win it without her and without Cavallero, but that's kind of the way both these teams have been. Players get hurt, players get banged up, players depart, new players arrive, and just keep on churning out wins. Cavallero takes the reset. Kircher over to Burton. Hauser. Stall count rising. And he gets a reset. And Cavallero fumbles it away. Mixtape, uncharacteristically sloppy. Amp has been near perfect so far. Rosso to the end zone. Ryan Flamberg hauls in the third Amp break of the first half.
As the stall count was rising, suddenly an open lane, Mixtape unable to maintain possession, and Amp looking similar to the way they did yesterday against Space Heater. Their offense doing an amazing job of stretching the field and working the open shots. They have someone going deep while someone is coming in. Mixtape is not reacting well defensively, and Amp is just capitalizing on those opportunities instantaneously, which is leading to these scores that are wide open. Mixtape is not challenging them in the deep space.
It's pretty amazing when you look at the context of Amp's season. I mean, in the biggest point of their season yesterday, Spiva to Mott for the game winner. Those two guys, both new on the team, have been important but not involved. No goals or assists for either of them, and it's a 5-2 lead. I don't think you would have fathomed that. Philly could do this through the first 7 points without big-time performances from guys like Spiva and Mott.
Yeah, this comes back to the conversation that we've been having as a result of Snake Country and Space Heater being in the mix. Is a team of superstar individuals going to beat the team system? And I think what we're seeing is the team system really thriving. With Khalifa Salam not in the game yesterday, we asked Claire Revere who had a big game. Dom Cavallero was the answer. So the system has been set up to allow whoever is capable of standing up and thriving. Whereas with Space Heater yesterday, individuals didn't have a good game, and that led to the loss.
Let's go down to the field and check in with Ian. What have been your impressions of these first 7 points, and what do you see from Mixtape from a body language standpoint?
It's a really... Thanks, Evan. I think Mixtape shares a lot in common with some of the elite women's programs in their approach to team mentality and body language in games. No matter whether they're getting broken, no matter whether they're getting scored on, no matter whether they're scoring, they're always trying to have their arms up, their hands up, and that positive body language. They certainly needed to do some regrouping during that timeout, but I was still seeing the characteristic arms raised, smiles on the faces to each other, just trying to maintain that even level of energy and instill confidence in their teammates.
I think that's a fair point. They are usually pretty good from a body language standpoint. It was not the case late in their pool play game against Space Heater, when the all-star team from all around the country, based in D.C., went on a huge run, rolled to a 15-9 win, and Mixtape looked very frustrated. Asked Dom Cavallero and Nick Dare about that, and asked them how they handled the bad body language. He said, we talked about the bad body language and talked about being more positive. Burton was drilled in the back by Spiva after he couldn't hang on the first time. Let's see how this is resolved. Spiva got the disc first.
Here we go, Blue. Hey, we got injury substitution, White.
And then he drilled Burton from behind.
Injury substitution.
Blue, everyone okay?
But it looks like Nikki's going to
Matt,
maintain
substitution,
possession.
Blue.
Hey, hybrid multi.
So another Mixtape turnover. Amp looking for its fourth break. Here we go. Great adjustment. Morse came back to it, but then late, it was Goldberg who got there for the block.
Yeah, and Evan, it looked like Brian Stout's huge mark got a finger on that disc as the huck was released. Definitely had further to travel if Stout was not able to get a finger on that one.
Nice to be 6'4". 36 years old, Brian Stout, a father of two now. One of the small handful of parents on this Mixtape team. Cam Bailey with that throw, takes the reset. Cam just became a dad on September 24th. Looking long for Stout, and he's got it, no problem. Could have been 6'2". Instead, Brian Stout slam dunks Mixtape back into the game at 5'3".
On the replay, you can see how the slight clip from Stout completely changes the trajectory of that throw. And what vision from Kircher to see that open opportunity over the entire stack.
Yeah, you would think Amp doesn't have too many players that can match up with Stout going deep.
Especially with a throw like that. Even if there was someone a little bit taller, no one was even close enough to make a play.
Tallest player on Amp's roster is Matt Zumbrum at 6'3". Besides him, no one else listed taller than 6'1". This is the first of 3 championship games that will bring you today on ESPN 3. At 3:30 Eastern, the women's final. Another rematch of a Universe Point Classic from last year. Boston Brute Squad, San Francisco Fury. And then at 6 o'clock tonight, the men's final, Revolver and Pony. And there are tons of storylines to that one. Nice cut underneath by Bobby Roos. El Salam is on Lake. That throw saved by Thompson. Her ability to make clutch, difficult plays in huge moments as a 21-year-old is astounding. Wide open on the break side, Roos into the end zone. Amp's in a groove right now, folks. Emily Shields the score, but let's talk about the save from Thompson.
Yeah, at 21 years old, you know, not surprising that she has the physical capability to make that play, but the wherewithal to do it on this stage just speaks volume to how centered she is as an athlete on this team.
And she's had such a tough season, dealing with injuries all the way back in January in Australia with the USA U24 team. Injuries that have really disrupted everything about her season. And she said she's feeling good. Certainly looks like it. Emily Shields, the Tufts University product, previously played with Wild Card in the mixed division, catches the score. It's funny. Chatting with Patrick Sherlock before the game, they are so process focused. And he's like, look, we're just so happy to be here. We're so grateful for the opportunity. We're so proud of last year, regardless of the results. And I said, look, aren't you going to be either elated or devastated today? Like a normal sports fanatic? And he was so level-headed about it. And that level-headedness comes across in their team.
Yeah, everyone on the team seems to take heart from his overall vision. And it is astounding that it's a very genuine response. It's not just him saying these things. You can tell he believes it. The entire team believes it. Every point is just an opportunity to give, as he says.
Bobbled, but hung on to. There's a pick downfield. Nice recovery there from Kircher. She's in her third year with Mixtape now and has become a very important player for this O-line.
Calling one when you're ready.
Worth mentioning, Mark Burton is back on the field after getting bumped by Spiva. Being guarded by Rosso now. Burton jogging downfield as Hauser has it in the backfield. And he'll launch deep, looking for Stout. Play in the end zone, intercepted. Tremendous defense from Eric Nardelli. At 6 feet tall, he takes it away on the deep shot to the 6'4" Stout. Just like Mixtape, Philly Amp also stumbled in pool play. Lost a Universe point game to Blackbird. That cost him the #1 seed, forced him to roll through the pre-quarters where they almost fell to Slow White in an exhilarating back and forth game. That was Friday morning. Amp fought through that, blasted Dragon Thrust, and then survived Space Heater yesterday. (15-14) in the semifinals. Spiva to Mott for the game winner. Mott caught the final 2 goals of the game. Remember, it was an Amp break to win.
Evan, it's worth noting that since we checked in earlier in the game, there have been some slight atmospheric conditions that have changed. The wind is not so difficult that it's going to prevent a thrower from completing a long upwind huck, but it's gone from a gentle breeze to something that's a little more noticeable. So Amp seems to be working in the downwind direction now, and if Mixtape gets the disc, they'd be working in a slight upwind direction.
Appreciate the update. Ian Toner down on the sidelines. Megan Tormey, Evan Lepler, our entire ESPN3 crew here in San Diego for the 2018 USA Ultimate National Championships. Danielle Walsh gets the reset over to Rosso, and he rips a backhand deep. Testing Hauser in the end zone, and Hauser gets a piece of it. A throw intended for Ryan. It's a big play by Hauser. Would have been a fourth Amp break. Amp's offense, by the way, hasn't turned it over yet in the game. They haven't had too many O points. Burton uncorks a huck. And it's Abramovich who wards off her defender to haul it in. There was another chance for Amp to stretch the lead to 4. Instead, we go the other way, back to a 2-goal game.
Rosso's throw needed just a little more sauce to stay in front of the likes of Brad Hauser. And one good huck deserves another. Mark Burton unleashes this beauty. Abramovich does a beautiful job reading it, stays calm even though pressure is mounting, keeps her defender at her left shoulder so that she can face off that disc and reel it in.
Abramovich makes the play. Amp is now 3 for 7 on break chances. Mixtape has not had a break opportunity yet. We'll see about this next D point with Abramovich cheering from the sideline. Khalif El Salam is back on the field, so it appears he's feeling okay. Ari Lozano has made a bunch of big plays for Mixtape defensively this weekend. She's the closest to the near pylon on the line here for the Mixtape D. And another guy who has been seemingly everywhere is Reed Hendrickson, who has not only been a great rookie for Mixtape, but his mom has been a tremendous seamstress, creating Mixtape pants for everyone on the roster. They are baggy, but they look comfortable.
Yeah, how exactly would you describe them? Are they hammer pants?
What are hammer pants, Megan?
Oh, Evan.
Are you really that surprised?
Never mind.
Spiva with the disc. A little junk look from Mixtape here. And now they match up. El Salam on Spiva, who bolts up the line. Mott resets. Peleg. Mott shifting the defense. Oh, great play by Normile. Better mark by Hendrickson, striking to deny the up line. Spiva to Mott, inbounds.
That Spiva to Mott connection can do no wrong. Look at that throw. undoubtedly sailing just a little slower and higher than Spiva intended. As Ian told us, the conditions have changed ever so slightly, but that's okay. Through the pressure, Mott is able to reel this one in.
And got that toe just barely inbounds. No bobble on the landing. He hung on completely. That's a good goal. Amps O-line still perfect. Spiva trying to help Amp get to the top of the mountain. Mixtape won the title last year at Amp's expense. If Amp can prevail, Megan, it would be the third consecutive year to see a program win their first championship in the mixed division. Slow White 2 years ago. Marshall Goff's team won the title, beating Metro North, a Chris Mazer-led squad from Connecticut. And last year, Mixtape got the better of Amp. We knew we'd have a first-time champ. Before that, Dragon Thrust had won 3 years in a row. Before that, Blackbird had won 2 years in a row. One of the players on Mixtape, newcomer Emily Smith, was on the mental toss fly Coons that won the national title 10 years ago in Sarasota, beating Shazam Remains. Not to be confused with Shazam Returns, that won the previous year. Bolton, a good gainer up the line. Abramovich. Here's Stout. A lot of float, and it's in the end zone. Good vision from Stout, just putting it to space and letting Brad Hauser's speed do the rest.
Hauser ran the rail on that one to make sure his feet stayed in bounds as he caught that score.
Now Philly Amp, if they score this next point, will have the opportunity to receive back-to-back points. They could score here, take it to half, and then receive to start the second half. It's possible Mixtape could be down 9-5 the next time they touch the disc on offense. Of course, they have other ideas. In the first half, Amp 3 for 7 in break opportunities, only 4 turnovers. Amp's O-line has been flawless.
That's fine. That's for sure. Yeah, it would be great for her tomorrow. Yeah, like she said it would be great for the rest of the game.
Hendrickson uncorks the pull. Spiva's out there, starting downfield in the stack. It's Trissolini. Spiva takes off. Trissolini sends him. El Salam chasing. And on the second effort, Spiva may have been fouled. What a battle. And it's an uncontested foul. El Salam.
Stay here, please. We'll tap it in live down there.
They're going to walk into the line and ground tap.
Submits that he gave the foul. Incredible hops on the initial effort, and then Spiva was kind of bear hugged from the second try. Amazing, because when that disc looked in the air, it looked like Spiva had 3-4 steps, and Salam made up the ground. But it's halftime. Spiva to Normile. Amp still perfect on O, leading by 3 breaks at the break.
I'm still impressed with Spiva's attempt on that second effort. Through the contact. Great spirit from El Salam.
And once he went up and didn't get it, he kind of had no choice but to go through Spiva when they were both on their knees on the second effort. So Amp leads 8-5. 9 of the 13 points in that first half. Make it 8 of the 13 points in that half were turnover free. Let's go down to Ian.
Thanks, Evan. I'm here with Abby Abramovich. Abby, what do you think was the margin in the first half?
Amp is they're poaching really well. We just got to use our heads. Right now we're trying to do it with our arms and with our legs. We got to remember to use our noggins, see the poaches, and take the smart shot.
What's the message to keep the team focused in the halftime huddle?
We got to play with our heart. Right now we're all playing as individuals. We got to play 27 strong, 28 strong with Larry. And we just got to do it together. We got to get our D-line back out there, and our D-line's going to carry us through this game.
Can you give us a quick 20-second story about Larry?
Oh, Larry's our prized possession, our favorite trophy we got. We won this at Bozo Fest in Montana, our warm-up for Worlds this year.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. Go get back to your team at halftime, and good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Evan, back up to you and Megan.
It's every Ultimate player's dream to win Larry at Bozo Fest. We all can hope for next year, I suppose. At the half in the finals of Nationals, it's 8-5. Amp leads Mixtape. We'll be back. We welcome you back to sunny San Diego on a picture-perfect Sunday for Ultimate to cap off the 2018 Triple Crown Tour. Halfway through the mixed final, the #1 seed Philly Amp leading Mixtape 8-5. Philly Amp offense has been perfect. They got breaks to take a 2-1 lead, a 3-1 lead, and a 5-2 lead. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. First 2 points of the game, Megan, were turnover free. Began with Bolton to Hauser. Brad Hauser with 3 of Mixtape's 5 goals in that first half.
Yeah, both teams looked cautious, but clear-headed as they marched down the field, taking the open shots carefully. The defense from the opposing team looking tight, but still gave some openings. Then things started to open up just a little bit more for Amp. They took a little bit deeper shots, and Mixtape just wasn't able to keep up.
Amp has been sure-handed and steady. There's another one of Hauser's scores. One thing Amp has done really well is defend Mark Burton in this game. Burton had the one deep assist to Abramovich, but whether it's been Spiva or Peleg or Ryan or Rosso, they've thrown a bunch of different guys at him, and Burton, who typically lives for these type of moments, has had a tough time getting going.
Yeah, limiting Burton has been one half of the equation. The other half has been Amp's ability to stretch the field. Here, Burton taking one of the few shots he's been allowed, and Abramovich making a great play for Mixtape.
Spiva with the final 2 assists of the half. This one to Mott with a great toe tap made it 7-4. And then after Brian Stout floats into space for Brad Hauser, giving Hauser his 3rd goal, just breaking the mark and using the space on the break side to convert. Spiva fouled on the second effort by El Salam, who went to the stratosphere but came up empty. And then easily to Carolyn Normile for the goal that took us to half. Amp coach Patrick Sherlock down in the field with the intoner.
Thanks, Evan. Patrick, your team's got a nice 8-5 lead at the half. What do you attribute that margin to?
Just looking forward to opportunities to work together and to grind on the field. Create on offense, attack on defense. It's been going well, and we are excited that we have another half to play.
It seems like your line calling has changed a little bit over the year in terms of how we were seeing key handlers like Nikki Spiva and Carolyn Normile were used in earlier tournaments. Can you talk about how you've been subbing them and how they've been getting playing time?
Sure, we've tried not to focus on specific roles too early so that everyone can improve throughout the season, take on different challenges, and so bring those to a variety of things that we'll see at this tournament, and we'll probably keep moving things around as we go.
What's the key to keeping your foot on the gas and bringing home another first-time national title?
Probably just the marks and the sideline enthusiasm and our ability to look forward to the opportunities ahead of us.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Patrick. Go get back to your team, and good luck in the second half.
I appreciate it.
Evan, back up to you and Megan.
Sherlock, the veteran coach of Philly Amp. He's been at the helm of this program a long time, and you genuinely get the sense that a national title's not the be-all, end-all. It would be pretty special, though. They're halfway there.
What would it look like if a competitive sport didn't mean a choice? Between beauty and brutality, style and steel. Between calling yourself out and clawing to stay in. What if there was a game that found balance? Between spirit and sport, agony and elation, like a disc dancing on air.
We now have evolved into a team sport of a game called Ultimate.
It stands by itself in that it is like no other game.
Between perfect passes and devastating drops, like the balance we so desperately needed, we had no choice but to create it ourselves. Long live grit and grace. Long live Ultimate.
At the half, Brad Hauser is the leading scorer in the game. However, Philly Amp winning as a team. 8 different goal scorers for the number 1 seed. Couple assists apiece for Roos and Spiva. And it's an 8-5 lead. Amp is also getting set to receive to start the second half. It's coming your way after this. In the semifinals yesterday, 5 of the 6 games across the 3 divisions went to Universe Point. Mixtape has a lot of work to do to get back in this one, trailing by 3. And Amp set to receive to start the second half. Here we go. Philly Amp 7 points away from their first national title. Team that's been around for 13 years. Spiva sending Mock. El Salam chasing. It's a foot race, and it's incomplete. El Salam comes up with the D. First turnover of the game for the Amp offense.
El Salam is absolutely intuitive in the air. He goes up at the earliest possible moment that you could possibly make a play, leading to that takeaway.
Bert Abbott, who's been limited in her playing time in the tournament due to a rib injury, is out there for Mixtape. Duffel to the perimeter for Lozano. Out of the reach of Abbott, but hung on to by Dom Cavallero. Beg your pardon, that's Evan Klein, who saved possession for Mixtape. That shot looking for El Salam, ill-advised and poorly executed. Spiva thought about the deep shot, but well, now that goes up. And that's beautiful. Lozano wasn't expecting it. Perfectly put to a spot where only Morse could get it.
Not much more to say besides what you already said. Ill-advised and poorly executed from Mixtape's throw, and then that's one way to get what you want. Move your players with a throw. Morse was standing still until that shot went up.
It's funny, Morse was open deep when Spiva had it, but there was a male poacher creeping in, and Spiva saw that, took the reset. The male poacher came back on an under, and that opened up the deep space for Linda Morse to be by herself, and Ruth saw it, and that's, I think, an example of the AMP program and the experience of playing mixed ultimate showing off right there.
That's an excellent point, and Claire Revere had some interesting thoughts prior to the game. She said Riot has come to her before trying to encourage her to play with their program, but she really likes the mixed division and likes that challenge that you were referencing earlier, Evan, knowing that there are going to be some gender mismatches that you have to keep in mind as you're developing your strategy and as you're watching an individual play out. And like you said, AMP saw the danger that was developing, waited to the appropriate moment, and that experience paid off.
Well, Mixtape knows all about finishing second. Before they won the Triple Crown Tour last year, silver medals were the story for Seattle. Falling to Dragon Thrust in the finals, both in 2014 and 2015. And that's a drop. Paige Kircher just acknowledged that she didn't catch it cleanly. DeSabato picks up. Intended for Ryan. Was it uncatchable? That's the argument from Bolton. But it was certainly a contact with Hauser.
Got it?
No, I saw it as a foul, but I didn't know how far. Yeah, I don't know how far it was to the line.
Okay.
I would say, but I didn't see how close it was to the line.
I'd be okay with sending it back if, because I thought I had a line on it, and I thought I got it right here. I was gonna take maybe.
I don't think there's any contest about. Is there a contest on the foul?
Right. I did foul you, but and I don't know how catching.
I don't think it was catching.
So it's an uncontested foul. Do y'all want to send it back or?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, from our secret snooping on the observers, it feels like they agree that it was catchable and that AMP should have the disc. So by sending it back, AMP maintains possession, but it goes back shy of midfield. Let's go down to Ian.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much of the player-to-player conversation you guys could pick up on early in the conversation, but Luke Ryan was appealing to his teammates and Mixtape players to help him understand what kind of perspective they had on whether or not the disc was catchable. Hauser was not questioning the contact. It was all a question of if the disc was catchable, if Ryan had a play on it, and he was appealing to others to get that perspective.
Bolton deflects it, but AMP scores anyway.
Okay.
Great adjustment by Steve Rosso. That was the turnover from Kircher. Good spirit on her part to acknowledge it. Bolton unable to catch it. Rosso was there.
That's always such a heartbreak after an incredible effort as exhibited by Bolton. But with 2 AMP players in the end zone, if you don't catch your D, that is likely an AMP score.
The 4th break of the game for Philly. AMP has Mixtape on the ropes right now. And we saw a bunch of big second half runs in the games yesterday. We saw Molly Brown make a run. We saw Brute Squad make multiple runs. And of course, Fury's 5-0 run to start the second half in the second women's semi last night after trailing 8-5. But I'm not sure AMP is as vulnerable to a run like that with their depth and how steady they've been. AMP still has only turned it over 5 times in the entire game. Good vision to find Abramovich. Lonnie Wynn. Kai Fong back to Wynn. Lonnie Wynn, one of the half-dozen Mercer Middle School products, a group that played Ultimate together in middle school, still playing together in national championship games at the highest level. Good bid, but a better throw, and Mixtape converts. It's almost as if the Mixtape players said, the men have been screwing this up. Let's get them out of the way and just use our women this point.
And that is sometimes a strategy that mixed teams will exhibit. If their women have been rock solid during the game, it's time to run it through them.
Abramovich to Noah to punctuate the point. Turnover, freehold. Noah involved in two of her team's 6 goals. Abramovich, same story. What's it going to take here defensively from Tate?
We're going to need to see a different look. I think Mixtape is capable of putting on some really tight person defense, and we've seen it this game. But that has not been enough to fluster the AMP offense. They are going to have to come out with a different set, something AMP hasn't seen. A different force, perhaps something a little poachy or junky. AMP is feeling really comfortable with being able to find the open lanes. The other thing Mixtape has to do to adjust is to guard that last back. Here it is right now. Mixtape is not honoring the last person in the stack, and it's leading to some nice long throws that AMP is connecting on.
Nora Mile makes the tough play look easy. Trissolini needs a reset. Great handler defense from El Salam, but they squeeze it through. Canna, who had a big game yesterday, swings it cross field. And there's Anna Thompson. Sure-handed in the end zone for Philly. AMP continues its precision around the goal line. Philadelphia, a perfect 8 for 8 in red zone chances here in the final. Megan, they're closing in. Bruce continues his fantastic play. 29 years old, in his 4th year with AMP. Previously played with club teams known as Stark Appeal and Hooray. What's the weirdest club team name that you've been a part of? Anything immediately come to mind?
No. No. Oh. No.
You had us hopeful there for a moment. Nick Dare gains yards. Abramovich to win. AMP continuing doing a good job keeping the disc out of Burton's hands. It's Spiva getting that challenge on this particular point. Pellig denies the up line to Fong. But Mixtape finds Caballero. So a quick turnover, free hold. And it's 11-7.
These last few points we've seen new life from Mixtape's offense, but it's going to take a more complete game from Mixtape to close the gap between them and AMP right now, and they are running out of time to do it.
Burton continuing to grind, but he has been flummoxed a bit in this game by the AMP defense. The team's leader in assists. Returned to the mixed division last year, really determined to help get this team over the top, which he, among others, did. Mark Burton, who's now 32, has talked about how he's not sure how much longer he's going to play. This could be his last game with Seattle Mixtape.
And it could be the beginning of years of him saying, I plan to retire next year.
That's a great point. Chatting with Emily Smith before the game. Says she's been playing Ultimate for the last 19 years except the one where she gave birth to her child, Aaliyah. Won a national championship in the mixed division 10 years ago. She said, I never expected to play this long. I just can't help it. Great cut downfield by Mo Zafari. Morse holstered the throw, though. And now Thompson fires, looking for Spiva, who adjusted quickly, elevates, and scores. Next level. Vision, adjustment, adaptation, greatness from Spiva.
As soon as Thompson got the disc, you could see the sense that someone was going deep for her in the stack. And Spiva, such an athlete. Not only does he make that last-minute adjustment, despite the adjustment, he still manages to time his jump perfectly.
Yeah, Thompson didn't get as much on that as she wanted. Could have used another 8 to 12 yards. They had the space to work with, but Spiva read it immediately. Gained position, and his natural athleticism and ability does the rest. Alana Thompson is a 20-year-old on Universe Point in the finals. They fall just short. Now at 21, continues to impact her team in the biggest games. Just wonder, like, I mean, Friday night, I'm sitting in a ballroom with the Hall of Famers of the past 50 years. And you see someone like her at age 21. Like, it's too soon to put her in the Hall of Fame, but it excites you to think about what kind of career is she going to have over the next decade.
And as individuals are starting to play younger and younger, it is getting more incredible to see what is capable in this sport. Think about my first nationals, I was 20 years old. So that was the biggest stage I had ever played any sport on. I was so nervous the entire time. And yet, Thompson is seasoned at the same age.
Kai Fong runs it down. The 5th straight point without a turnover. Gets Mixtape back within 4. Good shot from Cavallero. Megan, you say you were 20 at your first nationals. Ian, how old were you at your first club nationals?
I was just 22 years old, just fresh out of college, so I think Megan's got me beat. And I think it's just Megan's comment was spot on with more and more players who are coming out of high school or in their first or second year of college and ready to contribute at the club level. And club teams are investing in young talent and making that commitment to develop those players so they can be contributors for years to come. I'd love to see kind of a study comparing the average age of rosters in 2018 against the average age of rosters, let's say back in 2008 or 2000.
Yeah, that's a great point, and something that some aspiring ulti-world writers should put together. Have to imagine there's still some older mixed teams, average age-wise, but the men's and women's division, more and more young players in college, some cases before college.
Yeah, you think of players like Manuela Cardenas, who represented her country at the ripe old age of 14.
It's insane. Saw John Randolph impacting things for Sockeye, just finished his freshman year at Brown. Seattle youth product was out there on Universe Point in the semifinals against Pony. Bruce and Trissolini. Amp's offense has still only turned it over one time, and they have not been broken in the finals. Trissolini and Lake have been so steady together. 3 yards from the end zone, and some contact near the goal line.
The Mixtape end zone defense has definitely ratcheted up the last couple of points, but Amp remains poised. They're taking a few more shots outside the red zone, and it is not impacted their perfection.
Undeterred by the pressure as Trissolini finds Shields. And Philadelphia Amp now within 2 scores of their first title. Emily Shields was 21 at her first national. She's 25 now. Chris Alani dealt with injuries much of the year, just 23 out of Haverford College, but a North Carolina youth product from Hillsborough, played with Triforce in the YCCs. Another guy who's coming into his own. Asked Khalif El Salam before the game, was there a moment in the semifinals against Snake Country yesterday that you thought to yourself, well, this might not be our year? And he very quickly said, no, never. I was always confident we were going to win. Wonder how he's feeling now. The defense has not been able to get to this AMP O. Spiva out there on D defending Bolton. Mozafari's on Goldberg. Up the line, Spiva sets the mark. Bolton back to Fong. Just isn't feeling like Mixtape's day. Mark Burton looks on from the sidelines as the Seattle offense turns it over. And AMP looking for its 5th break of the final. Nardelli to Spiva. You know he was looking for it. Here comes the Huck to get to 14. Yes. Ryan Flamberg gets a shower, and AMP is 1 point away.
Here's the unforced turnover from Mixtape. AMP takes possession, and as we watch this battle, it's clear that Flamberg simply wants it more.
AMP's program started in 06. They made the semis in 07. They had to feel like they were knocking on the door. It took them a decade to get back to the semifinals. Last year they made their first final, falling just short at the hands of Mixtape, a team that they respect, but they are ready to avenge. Mixtape has had virtually no chances to break. Can Philly win it on D? Burton back out there. Hauser's open, under, still in his own end zone. Right back to Burton, who launches. Abramovich being chased by Morse. And Morse wins the foot race with ease. Looks like Pelig's gonna pick up. Great poach interception Cam Smith-Bailey, and then into the end zone. And out of the reach of Kircher. Amp will try again. Natalie Bova, back to Andrea DeSabato. Spencer DeRoos. And here's Luke Ryan. Low throw, dugout. Everything working for Amp. Is this gonna finish it? Linda Morse is in the end zone and it is over. For the first time ever, Philly Amp national champions in the mixed division. A thorough, dominant beatdown of the defending Triple Crown champs. Mixtape unable to convert in the end zone, and Amp was too good today. Peleg to Morse to close it out.
It is not easy to put together two perfect halves. But Amp did it and made it look easy today.
They won the first half 8-5. They won the second half 7-3. Congratulations to Philadelphia Amp. They're the national champs. We'll be back. The 2018 USA Ultimate National Championships are presented by VC Ultimate, providing Ultimate's best custom team uniforms and apparel since 1998. Visit VC Ultimate on the web at vcultimate.com. And by Discraft, the official disc of USA Ultimate. Now available at Midwest Meyer stores and over 2,000 retailers nationwide. For 13 years, Patrick Sherlock, Rahamo Zafari, and Philadelphia Amp have been building a program that has had over 150 players, 19 different couples, nearly enough children to create their own team one day. The Amp kids, they are thrilled to be the champs. Rahamo Zafari, Patrick Sherlock standing by after a championship win alongside Ian Toner.
Thank you very much, Evan. I'm here with an understandably emotional Rahamo Zafari. Raha, 13 seasons later, being the face of the program, you're a leader that helps your team finally break through. Can you describe what you're feeling right now?
All the emotions. I'm just so incredibly proud of our team. Every year, all 13 years, we've had just a special team every year. We came off with a sad loss last year, a hell of a game, and we were just so pumped to kind of bring it back with a whole new team. And I'm just so proud and so excited. All the emotions, I don't even know what to say.
That's fine. Looking ahead to the future of AMP, it feels like you guys have some great young talent that's going to be fueling your roster for years to come. Carolyn Normile, Linda Morris, Anna Thompson, the list could go on of young stars that you have. Can you talk about how you've seen them develop over the years?
Absolutely. I think Carolyn and Linda, we're the first. We met them in high school, young, nothing to lose, just eager to learn and develop, and we've seen them grow every year. Anna joined last couple years. We met her at her freshman year playing at Penn. We were coaching her. She had these beautiful flicks. We were like, have you played before? She's like, no, just a little bit in middle school, and she was just crushing it. So I'm so incredibly proud. They're the reason that I'm still pushing. And keep fighting, keep working out, training to be as good as they are on the field, just tearing it up. And so proud. They've got many more years to go, and I can't wait to play with them, continue to watch them, support them, see them continue to grow.
Another looking ahead question. Now that you've won one, do you feel like it's time to hang up the cleats, or do you need some more time to decide whether or not you're going to keep going?
It's never time to hang up the cleats. No way. We take it 1 year at a time, and I'm excited for the next step.
Awesome. Well, Raha, congratulations. Go celebrate with your husband and your team, and thank you so much for your time. Evan and Megan, back up to you.
Understandably emotional is right. A long journey for many of these players. Sherlock and Mozafari, certainly the pinnacle of that. 15-8 the final. Our play of the game brought to you by Discraft, home of the Ultra Star. One of the new members of the team, Nikki Spiva, elevating for the score that made it 12-7 on the shot from Thompson.
The thing that makes this victory all the sweeter is how many people left their imprint on the game and how beautiful Amp played throughout, punctuated by some individual great moments like the one we saw from Spiva.
Universe point in the semis for both Amp and Mixtape, but today it was all Philadelphia. 15-8, the most lopsided score in a mixed title game since 1998. Congratulations to Philly Amp. For the first time, you get to celebrate a national title. For Ian Toner and Megan Tormey, Evan Lepler saying so long from Mira Mesa High School in San Diego. Final score, Amp 15, Mixtape 8. Two more to go today in the women's division. Fury and Brute Squad coming up next later today. Revolver and Pony. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Philadelphia Amp 2018 USA Ultimate National Champs.